Sugar does more than just rot your teeth. We often think of it as empty calories, a harmless treat that might add a few pounds to our waistline. But the reality is far more serious. When you consume sugar, especially in the large quantities found in modern diets, you trigger a full-blown biochemical panic inside your body. It is a silent emergency, one that doesn't cause immediate pain but sets off a cascade of stress responses deep within your cells. This isn't about willpower or gluttony, it's about a biological system being pushed to its absolute limit, desperately trying to manage a substance it was never designed to handle in such excess. This internal alarm system has a name. It is called fibroblast growth factor 21, or FGF21. Think of it as your liver's emergency signal, a hidden panic button that gets pressed when things go wrong. When your liver is overwhelmed by a flood of sugar, it sends out FGF21 as a cry for help. This hormone is not a sign of a healthy, functioning metabolism. Instead, it is an indicator of metabolic distress. It is your body's way of saying, emergency, we are under attack from a sweet-tasting poison. We need to initiate damage control procedures immediately. Understanding this signal is the first step to reclaiming your health. Many people in the health and wellness space might misinterpret rising FGF21 levels. They might see it as a sign that the body is actively burning fat or improving its metabolism. However, this is a dangerous misunderstanding of its primary role. In the context of a high-sugar diet, elevated FGF21 is not a good thing. It is a distress flare fired into your bloodstream by a liver that is struggling to cope. It is a direct consequence of the metabolic chaos caused by fructose and glucose overload, a clear signal that your body is in a state of crisis, not optimization. Today, we will pull back the curtain on this misunderstood hormone. We're going to explore what FGF21 really is and why its presence is a critical warning sign that your diet is causing significant harm. I will show you how this emergency response works, what it means for your long-term health, and most importantly, how you can adopt a way of eating that makes this alarm bell almost obsolete. You don't need to live in a state of constant metabolic emergency. You can calm the fire and put your body back in control, starting with the food on your plate. Let's be clear from the outset. FGF21 is not some new superfood hormone you should be trying to boost. It's not a wellness trend or a biohack for better performance. It is your body's innate damage control mechanism. Its job is to step in when your system is under severe stress, whether from starvation, excessive alcohol consumption, or, as is most common today, an overwhelming intake of sugar. When your liver cells are being bombarded with fructose, they release FGF21 to try and mitigate the damage. It is a powerful last-ditch defense, mounted by a body trying desperately to protect itself from your dietary choices. Imagine your body as a finely tuned ship. A little bit of sugar is like a small wave. The ship handles it easily. But the modern diet is not a small wave. It is a tsunami of processed foods, sugary drinks, and seemingly healthy snacks packed with hidden sweeteners. This tsunami crashes over the deck, flooding the engine room, your liver. In this scenario, FGF21 is the frantic crew member sounding the alarm, trying to coordinate the emergency pumps and seal the bulkheads. It works to restore balance, but it was only ever meant to be an emergency measure, not a constant state of operation. The core function of this hormone is survival. When released in response to sugar, FGF21 attempts to do several things at once. It tries to increase your body's sensitivity to insulin to help clear the excess glucose from your blood more efficiently. It signals to your brain to reduce your appetite for sweet foods, a biological intervention to stop you from adding more fuel to the fire. It also works to slow down the process of converting sugar into new fat within the liver. Each of these actions is a defensive maneuver designed to minimize the harm caused by the sugar overload and prevent catastrophic system failure. Over the course of this discussion, we will unpack the science behind this incredible yet alarming process. We will look at how FGF21 functions as your body's firefighter, rushing to the scene of a metabolic blaze. I will explain why relying on this emergency system day after day is a recipe for disaster, leading to a state known as FGF21 resistance, where the alarm bells are ringing but nobody is listening. And I will show you how to avoid ever needing it in the first place by removing the very thing that starts the fire, sugar. It's time to stop being misled by carb culture and start listening to your body's real signals. Imagine this scenario. You decide to start your day with what you believe is a healthy breakfast. Perhaps it's a bowl of colorful cereal, a large glass of orange juice, or even a smoothie packed with fruit and a touch of honey. To your taste buds, it's a delightful burst of sweetness, but to your liver, it's the beginning of a metabolic siege. When you consume sugar, particularly fructose, you are essentially bypassing your body's normal energy regulation pathways. Unlike glucose, which can be used by nearly every cell in your body, fructose makes a beeline straight for the liver. It arrives unannounced and in overwhelming quantities, forcing your liver to drop everything and deal with the sudden toxic influx. This metabolic bottleneck is where the sabotage truly begins. Your liver, the primary organ for detoxification and metabolic processing, is suddenly tasked with being a janitor for your dietary choices. It has to clean up the mess left by the fructose dump. Since the rest of your body has very little use for fructose, the liver is left with no choice but to convert it into other substances. This process is called de novo lipogenesis, which is a fancy scientific term for creating new fat from a non-fat source. Your liver starts churning out triglycerides at an alarming rate, turning that sweet, innocent-looking fruit sugar into hard, visceral fat that begins to clog the organ itself. This isn't a slow, gradual process that happens over years. It's an immediate response to a high-sugar meal. The fat being created isn't just stored for a rainy day, it's a sign of metabolic dysfunction. This newly generated fat accumulates inside and around your liver cells, leading to a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. This is the first and perhaps most devastating blow in sugar's sweet sabotage. You are quite literally force-feeding your liver until it becomes fatty and inflamed, compromising its ability to perform over 500 vital functions that keep you alive and healthy. It's a silent, internal process that you won't feel until significant damage has already been done. The tragic irony is that many of the foods marketed as healthy are the worst offenders. Think of agave nectar, date bars masquerading as keto-friendly, or low-fat yogurts pumped full of sugar to improve their taste. These products deliver a concentrated dose of fructose directly to your liver, accelerating the process of fat accumulation and inflammation. Every time you reach for one of these items, you are actively participating in the sabotage of your own metabolic health. Your liver is forced to play the role of the reluctant janitor, working tirelessly to clean up a mess that should never have been made in the first place, setting the stage for even more dangerous consequences. The damage from fructose overload doesn't stop with the creation of new fat. That's merely the opening act of this metabolic tragedy. As your liver frantically processes the deluge of fructose, it generates a host of highly reactive and destructive waste products. These are not benign substances, they are molecular vandals that wreak havoc throughout your body. One of the most notorious of these compounds is methylglyoxal, a type of reactive carbonyl species. Think of methylglyoxal as a sticky, toxic goo that gets splattered all over your cellular machinery, gumming up the works and causing widespread dysfunction from the inside out. This toxic goo has a particular affinity for your body's proteins and fats. When methylglyoxal binds to these essential molecules, it triggers a process known as glycation. This is where the real long-term damage starts to take hold. Glycation creates something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short. The name itself is a chillingly accurate description of their effect. These AGEs are stiff, dysfunctional compounds that accumulate in your tissues, effectively causing your body to age at an accelerated rate. They are one of the primary drivers of the physical signs of aging, such as wrinkled skin and stiff joints, but their impact runs much deeper. The accumulation of AGEs is like rust spreading through the vital components of a machine. They cause proteins to become cross-linked and brittle, impairing their function. This affects everything from the collagen in your skin and blood vessels to the delicate proteins within your brain and eyes. This process fuels a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation that underlies nearly every modern disease, including heart disease, diabetes, and neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. The sweet taste of sugar is a fleeting pleasure, but the ages it produces create a legacy of cellular damage that can last a lifetime, silently degrading your health year after year. This is the sweet sabotage in its most insidious form. It's not just about gaining weight, it's about the fundamental corruption of your biological systems. The fructose you consume is directly converted into compounds that actively damage your DNA, stiffen your arteries, and fog your brain. You are essentially paying for a moment of sweetness with accelerated aging and a heightened risk of chronic disease. This is the part of the story that food manufacturers and public health guidelines conveniently ignore. They focus on calories, but the real danger lies in these toxic byproducts born from your liver's desperate attempt to process an unnatural load of sugar. Faced with this two-pronged attack, a flood of new fat and a storm of toxic ages, your liver has one final card to play. It cannot simply surrender to the onslaught, it must mount a defense. This is the precise moment that our misunderstood hero, FGF21, enters the picture. The rising levels of fat, the inflammatory signals, and the oxidative stress caused by methylglyoxal all combine to trigger a massive release of FGF21 from your liver cells. This is not a planned, strategic maneuver. It is honestly an act of desperation. It's the biochemical equivalent of pulling the fire alarm while the building is already engulfed in flames. The release of FGF21 is the liver's cry for help, a system-wide SOS broadcasted into your bloodstream. The hormone travels throughout your body, acting as a metabolic firefighter, trying to control the blaze that started with your last meal. Its primary mission is to mitigate the damage caused by the sugar you consumed. It tries to improve insulin sensitivity to help shuttle some of the excess glucose out of the blood. It attempts to ramp up your body's ability to burn fat for energy, hoping to clear out some of the triglycerides that are choking the liver. It is a frantic, multifaceted effort to restore some semblance of order to the metabolic chaos. Furthermore, FGF21 even travels to your brain, specifically to the hypothalamus, the region that controls hunger and cravings. Here, it acts as a powerful appetite suppressant, specifically targeting your desire for sweet foods. This is a brilliant, self-preserving feedback loop. Your liver, under assault from sugar, sends a message directly to your brain saying, "For the love of all that is holy, please stop eating the very thing that is killing me." It's a last-ditch effort to get you, the consumer, to cease the attack. This demonstrates that FGF21 is not a hormone of optimization, but one of pure, unadulterated survival. So when you see studies or health gurus celebrating the rise of FGF21, it is crucial to understand the context. In the face of a high-sugar diet, elevated FGF21 is a definitive sign that your body is in trouble. It signifies that your liver is accumulating fat, that toxic ages are running rampant, and that your entire system is under immense metabolic stress. It is the last stand of an organ pushed to its breaking point. This is where the story of FGF21 truly begins, not as a marker of health, but as a testament to the profound and destructive power of the sweetest sabotage. So what exactly is this FGF21 hormone we keep mentioning? Think of it as your body's internal emergency broadcast system. It is a protein hormone, a chemical messenger produced primarily by your liver when it finds itself in a state of crisis. While small amounts are also made by your fat tissue and muscles, the liver is the main command center for its release. This is not a hormone that circulates in high amounts when everything is running smoothly. Instead, its production skyrockets when your body is pushed to its metabolic limits. It is a signal reserved for times of severe stress, a biochemical flare fired into your bloodstream to alert the rest of your body that something has gone terribly wrong. The triggers for this emergency broadcast are quite revealing. FGF21 isn't released after a balanced, nourishing meal of protein and fat. Its main triggers are situations of metabolic jeopardy. The most common trigger in the modern world is, without a doubt, sugar overload, particularly from fructose, but it also surges during other extreme conditions such as prolonged starvation, excessive alcohol intake, and periods of intense inflammatory or oxidative stress. Do you see the pattern here? These are not states of health and vitality, they are states of damage, deprivation, and toxicity. FGF21 is the common denominator in all these crises. the universal signal that the body is under duress and needs to activate its survival protocols. This hormone is a member of the fibroblast growth factor family, but it behaves very differently from its relatives. While other FGFs act locally on nearby cells, FGF21 acts like a true hormone, traveling through the bloodstream to exert its effects on distant organs, including the brain, adipose tissue, and pancreas. It's a system-wide alert, not a localized memo. Its very existence is proof that your body has an inbuilt mechanism to deal with catastrophic nutritional events. It's a testament to our evolutionary history where periods of feast and famine were common. But today, the feast of sugar is relentless, keeping this emergency system switched on permanently. Understanding FGF21 as an emergency signal is absolutely crucial. It reframes the entire conversation around metabolism and diet. It moves us away from the simplistic idea of calories in, calories out, and forces us to look at the quality and hormonal impact of our food. A calorie from fructose that triggers a systemic stress response is not the same as a calorie from steak. When your FGF21 levels are chronically high because of your diet, your body is telling you loud and clear that it is in a constant state of emergency. It's not thriving, it's surviving. And that is a critical distinction for anyone seeking genuine long-term health. When the FGF21 fire alarm sounds, the hormone doesn't just make noise, it springs into action. It functions as a multitasking metabolic firefighter, rushing around the body trying to douse the flame sparked by sugar. Its list of duties is impressive, and every single one is a defensive maneuver designed to limit the damage. One of its first jobs is to tackle the high blood sugar itself. FGF21 enhances the action of insulin, making your cells more sensitive to its signal. This helps to pull the excess glucose out of your bloodstream faster, trying to prevent it from causing further glycation damage to your arteries and organs. It's a desperate attempt to clean up the immediate toxic spill. Simultaneously, FGF21 gets to work on the liver itself, the epicenter of the crisis. It acts to powerfully suppress de novo lipogenesis, which is the process of creating new fat. In simple terms, it tells the liver to stop turning all that fructose into more fat that is clogging up the works. At the same time, it cranks up fatty acid oxidation, encouraging the liver to start burning the fat that has already accumulated. It's a two-pronged attack: stop making new fat and start burning the old stuff. This is a vital action to try and prevent or reverse the progression of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a direct consequence of sugar overload. But FGF21's firefighting duties don't stop there. It also works to protect the very powerhouses of your cells, the mitochondria. The toxic byproducts of fructose metabolism, like methyl glyoxyl, are incredibly damaging to mitochondrial function. FGF21 steps in to shield them, helping to preserve their ability to produce energy efficiently. This is crucial because mitochondrial damage is a root cause of chronic fatigue and cellular aging. FGF21 is essentially trying to keep the lights on while the rest of the building is on fire. It is a protective measure, not a performance-enhancing one aimed at preventing a complete systemic collapse in the face of overwhelming metabolic stress. Perhaps the most fascinating and frankly hilarious part of its job is its effect on your brain. As we touched on before, FGF21 travels to your central nervous system and acts directly on your hypothalamus to suppress your cravings for sweet foods. This is your liver's ultimate checkmate. It is literally sending a hormone to your brain to tell you to put down the donut. This action alone proves that FGF21 is a response to a harmful stimulus. A hormone designed to make you dislike the very thing that caused its release is, by definition, part of a negative feedback loop for survival, not a positive signal of optimization. When you put all these pieces together, the picture becomes undeniably clear. FGF21 is not a wellness marker. It's not a hormone you should be trying to optimize by drinking sugary smoothies. It's your liver's way of waving a giant crimson red flag. Honestly, it's a biological scream for help. Its presence in high amounts signifies that your metabolic health is not just suboptimal. It's actively under attack. This hormone is the last line of defense between a poor diet and the development of full-blown metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver disease. It's the firefighter, and if the firefighter is always at your house, it means your house is constantly on fire. Think about it logically. No other state of genuine health requires such a dramatic system-wide emergency response. You don't get a surge of FGF21 after a brisk walk, a good night's sleep, or a nourishing meal rich in essential nutrients. It rises in response to poison, starvation, and stress. Therefore, interpreting chronically elevated FGF21 as anything other than a sign of chronic metabolic distress is a dangerous fallacy. It's like seeing the engine warning light flash on your car's dashboard and celebrating the fact that your car's diagnostic system is working, instead of addressing the engine failure itself. This is why the context of FGF21 is everything. In the context of a high-carbohydrate, high-sugar diet, its elevation is a clear and present danger signal. It indicates that your body is struggling to manage glucose, your liver is becoming fatty, and your cells are being damaged by glycation. It's a marker of pathology. The goal should not be to have high FGF21. The goal should be to live in a way that your body doesn't need to scream for help. A healthy, well-functioning metabolism should be calm and efficient, not in a constant state of panicked firefighting. True health is the absence of alarm bells. So the next time you hear someone talking about FGF21, remember its true purpose. It's a hormone for survival, not for thriving. Its job is to rescue you from the brink of metabolic disaster. It is a testament to the incredible resilience of the human body, but it is also the ultimate red flag, a warning sign that your dietary choices are causing serious systemic harm. The most powerful thing you can do for your health is to create a metabolic environment where your liver doesn't need to send out an SOS. The goal is to make this heroic firefighter obsolete. The scientific literature provides a wealth of evidence that paints a crystal clear picture of FGF21 as a rapid response distress signal, not a slow burning marker of health. The link between sugar consumption and a surge in this hormone is not a matter of speculation. It's a directly observable cause and effect relationship. Groundbreaking studies have demonstrated just how quickly your liver sounds the alarm after being hit with a dose of sugar. This isn't a process that takes weeks or months to manifest. The emergency broadcast begins almost immediately, showing the acute stress your body is placed under from a single high-sugar event long before chronic disease sets in. One of the most telling studies in this area was conducted by Duché and his colleagues in 2014. In this experiment, researchers gave healthy human volunteers a single large dose of fructose, the equivalent of what you might find in a couple of large sugary sodas. They then measured the participants' blood markers over the following hours. The results were startling. Within just a few hours of consuming the fructose, the subject's FGF21 levels shot up dramatically. This rapid, pronounced spike demonstrates that FGF21 is an immediate response hormone directly triggered by the metabolic burden of processing fructose. It's the liver's first line of defense activated on the spot. This finding is incredibly significant because it separates the FGF21 response from long-term conditions like obesity or established insulin resistance. The participants in this study were healthy. They didn't have pre-existing metabolic disease, yet their bodies still reacted to the fructose bolus as if it were a toxic insult, which, metabolically speaking, it is. The study leaves a clear fructose fingerprint on the activation of this pathway. It confirms that the hormone is not rising because a person is unhealthy in a chronic sense, but because they have consumed a substance that forces the liver into an emergency state of damage control right then and there. This evidence directly contradicts the narrative that FGF21 is some kind of beneficial wellness hormone to be cultivated. If FGF21 were a sign of optimization, its levels would rise in response to nourishing inputs, not substances known to drive fatty liver disease and inflammation. The speed and magnitude of the response to fructose pinpoint it as a key player in the body's acute defense against sugar-induced toxicity. It's not a marker of you thriving, it's a direct measurement of your liver reacting to a biochemical assault, a distress signal fired off in real time to manage the immediate crisis. If FGF21 is the firefighter rushing to the scene, what happens when the firefighter is taken out of the equation? To understand the hormone's true protective role, scientists have studied what happens when its signal is silenced. Research using animal models where the FGF21 gene has been knocked out provides some of the most compelling and, frankly, terrifying evidence of its importance as a distress signal. These studies reveal the catastrophic consequences that unfold when the liver is hit with a sugar overload but is unable to send out its SOS. The results are a grim preview of what happens when this crucial defense mechanism fails. A pivotal study by Zhang and colleagues in 2012 explored this very scenario. They took mice that were genetically engineered to be incapable of producing FGF21 and fed them a high fructose diet. The results were devastatingly clear and rapid. Without the protective actions of FGF21, these mice quickly developed severe insulin resistance, their livers became engorged with fat, and they suffered from a massive overload of glycation damage. Their bodies were completely defenseless against the fructose onslaught. The absence of this single hormone led to an accelerated descent into full-blown metabolic syndrome, demonstrating its indispensable role in mitigating sugar's toxic effects. This research highlights that FGF21 is not just a passive bystander or a simple marker, it's an active and essential guardian of your metabolic health. It's the brake pedal your body slams on to prevent a high-sugar diet from causing a catastrophic pile-up of fat, inflammation, and glycation. When that brake pedal is removed, the car careens out of control at the first sign of trouble. The mice without FGF21 were not just slightly worse off, they experienced a complete and rapid metabolic collapse. This proves that the hormone's primary job is crisis management, a vital function for survival in the face of nutritional stress. Therefore, the presence of FGF21, while indicating a problem, is far better than its absence in a crisis. It shows that your body's defense systems are still online and fighting back. The real danger emerges when this system is either missing, as in these genetic models, or more commonly in humans, when it becomes overwhelmed and ignored, a state we will explore next. The evidence from these knockout studies solidifies FGF21's identity. It's not a feature of a healthy system, but a critical, non-negotiable component of the emergency response team that protects a system in distress from complete and utter failure. While an acute spike in FGF21 is a sign of a temporary crisis, what happens when that crisis becomes the new normal? The modern diet, laden with sugar at every meal, means the liver is never off duty. It is constantly being bombarded, and therefore it is constantly screaming for help by pumping out FGF21. This leads to a state where FGF21 levels are chronically elevated. Far from being a good thing, this is a clear indicator of deep-seated metabolic dysfunction and, paradoxically, a predictor of worsening health outcomes. The firefighter is always at your house because your house is in a state of perpetual smoldering fire. Research in human populations confirms this dangerous reality. Studies such as one by Fisher and colleagues in 2010 have found a strong correlation between chronically high levels of FGF21 and conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Moreover, elevated FGF21 is often associated with what can be described as sugar addiction-like behaviors. This makes perfect sense. If the body is developing resistance to FGF21's appetite-suppressing signal in the brain, the cravings for the very substance causing the damage will persist or even intensify, creating a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of metabolic destruction. This phenomenon shows that FGF21 is not a wellness buzzword to be celebrated. It is an internal siren, and a siren that is always blaring as a sign of a permanent emergency. Chronically high levels indicate that your body is locked in a desperate struggle against constant glycation and sugar-induced mitochondrial damage. Your liver is working overtime, your inflammatory markers are likely rising, and your entire system is strained. The continuous production of this hormone is a testament to the relentless metabolic pressure your diet is exerting on your body, a pressure it was never designed to withstand long-term. Ultimately, the goal for genuine health and metabolic freedom is not to have high FGF21 levels, but to have low, stable levels that can respond appropriately when and only when truly needed. A healthy body is a quiet body. It is not in a state of constant high-alert hormonal panic. The scientific evidence is overwhelming. FGF21 rises swiftly in response to a sugar threat, its absence leads to metabolic catastrophe, and its chronic elevation is a hallmark of disease. This hormone is not your friend or a sign of strength. It is the definitive distress signal from a body under siege. Imagine a fire station where the alarm never stops ringing. At first, the firefighters respond, but eventually, they tune it out. That's what happens in your body with chronically high FGF21. Your liver keeps sounding the alarm, but your brain and fat cells stop listening. This is FGF21 resistance. Your body's main defense against sugar toxicity becomes useless, leaving you vulnerable. Like the boy who cried wolf, the warning is ignored and the real danger goes unchecked. FGF21. Resistance isn't just a lab result. It's exhaustion, relentless sugar cravings, and stubborn fat that won't budge. Your mitochondria can't make energy efficiently, so you're tired no matter how much you rest. Sugar cravings spiral out of control, and your body clings to fat while insulin resistance worsens. Inflammation rises and your metabolism grinds to a halt. This isn't just a slow metabolism, it's a system on the brink of collapse. FGF21 resistance marks a tipping point. Your body's defenses are down and sugar's damage accelerates. Fatty liver, inflammation and advanced glycation end products wreak havoc on your organs. Metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, belly fat becomes your new normal. This isn't just about eating less, it's about a broken metabolic system. Escaping this state requires a complete metabolic reset. Remove sugar and the alarm finally stops. On a low-carb or carnivore diet, FGF21 shifts from emergency responder to master conductor. In ketosis, FGF21 helps your body burn fat, make ketones, and clean up cellular debris. It's no longer about damage control, it's about optimization. Your metabolism becomes efficient, stable, and resilient. The firefighter retires. The conductor leads your body to true health. In metabolic peace, your mitochondria thrive, energy is steady, and inflammation fades. Your body repairs itself, hormones recalibrate, and cravings disappear. Insulin and leptin work as they should, and your appetite is finally under control. This is the difference between surviving and thriving. It's the quiet hum of a body running on the fuel it was designed to use. For me, this isn't theory, it's survival. Living with CRPS, autism, and a spinal fusion, my body is always at war. Inflammation triggers unbearable pain, and a high-sugar diet would make it worse. Understanding FGF21 was my lifeline. Switching to carnivore gave me a ceasefire. It doesn't cure my conditions, but it gives me stability and resilience. I've built strength, helped others, and share this truth because I know what it's like to feel trapped in a failing body. I fight through pain every day to bring you this information because it can save lives. Doing this work comes at a significant personal cost. The energy it takes to research, write, film, and edit, all while managing my severe disabilities and chronic pain, is immense. There are many days when it feels like an impossible task. But I am driven by a mission to serve this community, to provide a voice of reason and scientific integrity in a world full of misinformation. I refuse to let my circumstances define me or silence me. However, I am at a point where I cannot continue this mission alone. My ability to survive, let alone continue producing this content, is now directly reliant on the support of the community I serve. This is why I am asking for your help. I pour everything I have into this work, and I want to keep it accessible to as many people as possible. To thank you for your incredible loyalty and support, I've reduced the price of all my ebooks, including my comprehensive guide, Carnivore Optimized. Purchasing one of these books is one of the best ways to support my work directly while also gaining a powerful science-backed resource to transform your own health. It is a transaction where we both win, and it allows me to keep the lights on and continue my research. If you enjoy these deep dives and want more, you can join my YouTube channel membership. For as little as 99 pence, or about $1 a month, you get access to exclusive content, in-depth breakdowns, and a closer connection with our community. This small, regular contribution makes a massive difference to my financial stability, allowing me to plan my work and worry a little less about my basic survival. It is an affordable way to become a patron of this mission and ensure that videos like this one can continue to be made for everyone. Finally, if you are in a position to help more directly and believe in the value of what I'm doing, please consider supporting me through my Give, Send, Go. I am disabled, I am in pain, and I'm fighting every single day to survive and to continue this work. Your direct support is not just a donation, it is a lifeline. It is the fuel that allows me to keep going when my body wants to quit. It is a powerful statement that this message of health, resilience, and truth matters. I need your help to keep this fight going. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. We have journeyed deep into the biochemical pathways of your body to uncover a fundamental truth. FGF21 is not your friend. It is not a wellness marker to be celebrated or a hormone to be boosted for optimization. It is your liver's desperate biochemical 999 call, a distress signal indicating that your body is under duress from a metabolic fire. When you flood your system with sugar, you force your liver to scream for help by releasing this hormone. Its job is to manage the crisis, protect your cells from damage, and beg your brain to stop consuming the very substance causing the harm. It is a brilliant last-ditch defense mechanism for survival. Therefore, if your FGF21 levels are chronically high, that is not a flex. It is not a sign of a robust metabolism hard at work. It is a clear and undeniable warning that you are in a state of constant low-grade emergency. It means your liver is becoming fatty, your cells are being damaged by glycation, and your body is losing the war against inflammation. Relying on this emergency system day after day is a recipe for disaster, leading inevitably to FGF21 resistance, where the fire alarm is blaring but your body has gone deaf, allowing the damage to accelerate unchecked and unopposed. The solution then is not to find new ways to make the firefighter work harder. The solution is to put out the fire. By removing the inflammatory toxic burden of sugar and processed carbohydrates from your diet, you can silence the alarm. Adopting a low-carb or ideally a full carnivore lifestyle allows your body to transition from a state of crisis to one of calm metabolic efficiency. It allows FGF21 to step down from its role as a panicked emergency responder and resume its proper function as a subtle conductor of a healthy, fat-adapted metabolism. You can choose to live in peace, not in a perpetual state of emergency. Do not let yourself be misled by the confusing narratives of mainstream health culture. Listen to the clear signals your own body is sending you. A state of health is a state of quiet strength, not one of hormonal screaming. The goal is to create a metabolic environment so robust and resilient that it rarely, if ever, needs to sound the alarm. You have the power to calm the fire. You have the power to take the pressure off your liver. You have the power to optimize your life, starting with the very next meal you choose to eat. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, you have a choice. You can continue down the path of metabolic chaos, ignoring the blaring sirens, or you can take decisive action to reclaim your health and your future. The first step is to change what is on your end of the fork. Go carnivore. Remove the sugar, the processed junk, and the constant stream of carbohydrates that fuel the fire. Give your body the nutrient-dense, species-appropriate foods it needs to heal, repair, and thrive. Calm the fire, silence the alarm, and unlock a new level of energy and vitality you may have thought was lost forever. To guide you on this journey, I have created resources built on real science and my own hard-won experience. You can grab my ebook, Carnivore Optimized, at its new reduced price. It is packed with the information you need to make this transition effectively and sustainably. Purchasing it is not just an investment in your own health. It is a direct act of support for this mission. enabling me to continue fighting to get this crucial information out into the world. Your support helps me counter the powerful, well-funded voices of carb culture and big food corporations who would rather you remained sick. If you want to continue learning and go deeper into the science, I invite you to join our community by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can get weekly deep dives, exclusive content, and support a platform dedicated to raw truth and relentless resilience. And if my work has had a meaningful impact on you and you are in a position to help, please consider donating directly via my GiveSendGo. As a disabled man in chronic pain, I rely on your generosity to survive and to keep my voice in this fight. Your support now more than ever is my lifeline. Let's fight back together with knowledge and a bit of stake. This is more than just a diet. It is a movement for metabolic freedom, a movement for taking back control from the industries that profit from our sickness. Be sure to like this video, comment with your own story, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a dose of truth. Let's build a community strong enough to change the world, one healthy, metabolically sound person at a time. This is Carnivore Muscle, raw truth, real science, relentless resilience. Thank you for being here.
Carnivore Optimized. This isn't just an ebook, it's a call to arms. This is a radical blueprint for those who refuse to bow to the modern health crisis. It's built on ancestral truth, forged in pain, and written by Jonathan Griffiths, autistic athlete, spine disease warrior, and founder of Carnivore Muscle. This 80-plus page guide dismantles the lies we've been sold and hands the power back to you. You'll learn why meat heals and fake food harms, how to restore energy, hormones, and focus, strength training without burnout, tools to beat fatigue, gut issues, and brain fog, how to stay strong in a weak world. Every purchase is a stand against the globalist agenda, fueling a movement to return health, power, and freedom back to the people. Rebuild yourself. Reclaim your fire. Own your biology. Download now